Well, as I told you guys yesterday, the Chicago Cubs were nowhere close to being done. And listen, they still ain't done yet. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Edward Cabrera trade. I got some expert analysts joining the show with me. We're going to have a good time tonight, guys. Sit back and enjoy, and also join in the comments section. That's right. It's time for Chicago Cubs Central Late Night. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I am your host, Mike Jones. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining in, guys. And of course, I am here with my esteemed co-host, my guest for this evening, y'all. Down below, I got my main man, from Chicago, went to college together, my brother from another mother, y'all, my boy Tyrone. What's going on, T?
I can't call him, man. Nice to be here with you. It's always a pleasure being on your platform, man.
Yes,
How you
sir. Yes,
doing?
sir. Chilling, brother, chilling, man. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for what the Chicago Cubs are doing, for the moves that they finally make. So, like I said, oh snap, that's crazy. Trey Young just got traded from the to the Washington Wizards for C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert.
Ooh, mid-game.
That's crazy. Sorry. that just happened as I was just scrolling through getting my notes together. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. That's nuts, boy.
Wow.
But yeah, and of course, y'all, I have with us also my main man, my brother, also my another brother from another mother. I got my guy, Coach, man. What's up, Coach?
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me on here. Anytime we talk baseball, you and me, it's always a pleasure. So I'm happy that you had me on here. And yeah, big news coming out of the wire today.
Yeah, man. Un, un, I I don't know if unforeseen necessarily is the right terminology I want to use for this, but definitely I understand. Understood the Cubs understood what they wanted to do. They knew that they needed to get better. They knew that they needed to add more pieces, and they did so today. Today's the first step to really shoring up that starting rotation, as well as now you have more flexibility and you're able to do more with other pieces. So we're going to break it all down for you guys here on the show. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe to Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. But yeah, man, like I said, I'm just excited for what the Cubs have done so far. Jed pulled off a move that he wanted to do in 2025, and now he officially gets his guy. He finally gets Edward Cabrera, a piece that he wanted for some time now, and he is somebody that the Chicago Cubs really were after. Tyrone, how you feeling about this deal?
I'm feeling excited. As you know, this off season has been kind of disappointed, but it's not even a disappointment because we expect the bare minimum anyway. So for the fact of them to actually do a trade and to be for a young valuable piece, a starting pitcher at that, I'm honestly it's about damn time. I'm gonna lie, man. Like it's a person that he's been wanting to acquire up, and so to finally get him and trade a piece for him is refreshing. So I'm
Yeah.
glad they do something. I want them to do more, but we started with something. You know, what I'm saying to begin here.
What do you think of this deal, Coachman?
I think it's a great deal. I think this is the. It may stink because of the main guy in the deal, Owen Caissie, being gone,
Sure.
but if you look at it, it's going to be really tough for him to get playing time with this outfield right now with
Right.
Suzuki, Happ, and Crow Armstrong. So I think this is a win-win for both sides. Cubs get a really solid arm in Cabrera, a guy who's coming off a career year in Miami, and you get Owen Caissie going to Florida, going to Miami, who's probably going to get a ton of playing time while
Yeah.
he's down there. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I when I first saw that it was they were getting Cabrera, I immediately wanted to know what the return was for Miami. And honestly, I think it's a fair package that the Cubs gave because Miami could have definitely oversold it and said, "Hey, we want more." I think they did a good job of getting the main piece of the puzzle for the deal and then sprinkling in some add-ons. So I think good trade all around for both sides.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of things here you want to think about. I want to focus first and foremost on what we've acquired. We've acquired a guy that now fits into our starting pitching rotation that now boasts Cade Horton, Matthew Boyd, Jameson Tyone, Shota Imanaga, and Edward Cabrera, and eventually we'll also have Just Deal at some point this season. So you look at that and you say to yourself, okay, well, you think about Matthew Boyd, Jameson Tyone, Shota Imanaga. Those are contact type of guys. So those are guys that pitch to contact a lot more than strikeout, swing and miss. Cade Horton came last year with the Thunder and was getting a lot of swing and miss when he was when he was healthy. But you bring in somebody like Edward Cabrera who has absolutely filthy stuff. Somebody that is going to be able to um to continue to hone his skills, hone his craft with the Chicago Cubs. He's going to be in the Cubs pitching lab immediately with Tyler Zambaro. And again, he's 27 years old. He's a starter that throws over 100 miles per hour. The Cubs have him for 3 years under team control, and they have him for an affordable amount. And so, like I said, I mean, he's a piece that the Chicago Cubs were missing. And I'm excited because they brought him in, and because now we have somebody that can really elevate this team, and somebody that takes a lot of the pressure off of Matthew Boyd, off of Jameson Tyone, and really off of Shota Imanaga. What do you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you got to give Boyd a little bit more credit of strikeout stuff. I think what he did this past year was a lot better. Obviously, coming off of the Tommy John surgery that he had a couple years ago, he was with Cleveland 2 years ago. Really was more of a contact pitcher. But if you notice Boyd's velocity, like jumping this year with the Cubs, I think turned him into more of that strikeout pitcher. Now, towards the end of the year, I think he kind of lost that because he's not
Yeah.
used to that kind of workload. I think this year he's going to be just fine. But yeah, got to give Boyd a little bit more credit on the strikeout stuff. But to your point, now the Cubs have a strikeout guy from the left side and from the right side now,
Yeah.
which is a deadly combination. I still think Boyd is probably your number one, and then
Okay.
you slide Cabrera in at number two.
Okay. Okay. That was gonna be my next spot. My next question for you guys is what as far as creating your rotation, your lineup. So you're still gonna hand the Boyd the ball opening day if it were you, coach, and then you go Boyd, Cabrera, Horton, Tyone, and Managa, or flip Tyone and Managa.
I would flip them.
Flip Tyone and Managa. So go
Yeah.
Imanaga, then Tyone. Go Tyone every fifth day.
hmm
Yeah, yeah.
Less pressure for him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, and for what it's worth, Tyone last year really showed me something in the postseason, guys, with what he was able to do, and the stuff that he was able to accomplish in the postseason for the Chicago Cubs, and how he just became this lockdown pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. So, like I said, Eric Cabrera has a 25% strikeout percentage, like I said, and he just is somebody that the Chicago Cubs desperately needed. This is one of the pieces that we were looking for as far as needing to get better starting pitching. So I'm excited about this. What are your thoughts, Tyrone?
I'm excited. I'm just glad they just finally got somebody and had conviction on him. We definitely know that he has the right stuff. He's a young pitcher. He's been the Marlins ace for a while now, so I'm just glad they finally took a swing at somebody because you know me, I wasn't really too confident with Steele. Trying to rely on just Steele coming back,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, K Horton, you know, that's my guy. K, you know, he has his injury warts as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that they finally took somebody that can take the load off of Cade and others and really make them a real contender for the postseason. So I'm glad they made a move. I need them to make more because, as you can see, other teams are footing the bill and going that will. So
Sure.
I'm glad they finally realized they the Chicago Cubs, a big market team, and they try to take a swing for somebody. So I'm excited, man. This is a move that really because I was getting sad, man. You know, we was talking about the guy, the Japanese pitcher. I forgot his name, and
Yeah. Tatsuya of mine.
you chatting. I was upset. I'm like, man, like he was not even attempting this move makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you kind of cutting in and out there, Tyrone, a little bit, but yeah, man, I'm super happy too for what the Chicago Cubs have accomplished today. Again, I do not think, guys, this is it though. I do think there's more coming. So, again, there are still multiple reports out there that just adding Edward Cabrera was not the final piece for the Chicago Cubs either. The thought process is that this has opened up another spot for playing time with Owen Caissie being gone. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Owen Caissie wasn't probably going to play that much anyways, right? Well, that's not necessarily true. From all aspects, the signs were that Owen Caissie was probably either going to play right field and probably DH a little bit, trading off with Seiya Suzuki and Moises Ballesteros with that. But now it's looking like you have a spot open either, and it doesn't necessarily have to be right field either. So all the reports, all the signs are leading to the Chicago Cubs adding on even more than just this right now, because they're going to be looking to add on other pieces. So, like I said, man, it's going to be one of those things where now this opens up the possibility of Bregman. This opens up the possibility of Cody Bellinger on a short-term deal. This even opens up the possibility of a Kyle Tucker return, even though that seems still unlikely by most people's standards. They don't think that Kyle Tucker is coming back to the Chicago Cubs, but stranger things have happened. Um, what do you guys thoughts on that? I know Bo Bichette is somebody that has been mentioned a lot within the Chicago Cubs. I know they keep talking about Bo Bichette and him potentially being the one that the Chicago Cubs are after right now, and what that could potentially end up being for the Cubs. What are your thoughts on Bichette, on Bellinger, and on Bregman? Those seem like to be the big three names that keep being mentioned by the Chicago Cubs.
So for Bregman, I think he's going to go back to Boston.
Okay.
From what I've read, Boston is ready to pretty much unload the truck for him to get him back. I think Bregman still, maybe not Bregman, but Scott Boras is still playing the field, trying to get that number up a little bit more. But I think he goes back to Boston on a pretty big deal. So I wouldn't worry about him, Cubs fans. But as for the other two, Bichette is an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be, where are you going to play him? Are you going to move? Are you going to move Horner then? Is he going to get traded? Or are you going to keep Shaw in the minors despite him having a really strong second half and move Horner to third? Like, I feel like that just creates too much of a complication with Bichette.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Bellinger makes more sense.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a 1 year deal, it's something that you can do. You got a guy who can play first base and in the outfield and also DH. It's more versatility to the lineup if you add
Sure.
him. Whereas with Bichette, yes, he can play second base too. I know he's open to that, but
Mm-hmm.
you have a pretty solid middle infield right there.
Right.
So I don't think you I think getting him is just going to create more problems than are necessary, whereas Bellinger can kind of fit that role that you need.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have said, because I've mentioned Cody Bellinger coming back to the Chicago Cubs a bunch, and people have said, why would they? I would almost feel like they're going backwards in re-signing Cody Bellinger and bringing him back. Well, not necessarily, because like I said, you needed to see what this team could be without him. Again, and I mean, you had Kyle Tucker at that time, and now you don't have Kyle Tucker, so there's a hole there that needs to be filled. There is responsibilities there that have to be taken care of. There is the need and the necessity for a big bat in this lineup that can help Seiya Suzuki, that can help Michael Busch, that can help PCA, that can take pressure off of these guys and allow the Chicago Cubs to be able to have the success that they had in 2020, in 2025, and going even further than that. That's really the goal here. I still feel strongly that the Cubs are in the business of Bregman. I don't know if they come off winning the Bregman sweepstakes this time, but surely they, like I said, are still within there. And if the Boston Red Sox do end up missing out on Bregman, it would not surprise me one single solitary bit if they don't circle the block with the Cardinals and make another deal with the Cardinals for Arenado. They already made a deal with the Cardinals, and they're going to have Wilson Contreras play first base. But like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they do. Let's say Bregman does end up going to Chicago. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't swoop or turn around, spin the block, and do a deal with the Cardinals to get Arenado. But from the Cubs standpoint here, you have three options now, and the door is wide open with all of them after trading Caissie. It just, like I said, it
Mm-hmm.
opens up a lot more. The Chicago Cubs needs become a lot more clear, as well as you now understand exactly what the club was trying to do. And I mean, and for what it's worth, Jed told us originally what his plan was. His whole plan the whole time was to, potentially get a starting pitcher through trade, and then try to sign a big bat through free agency. So this has been the plan all along. And I mean, again, he has executed this plan to a T. No matter how much we have, questioned him or questioned what he was doing or what he was able to accomplish, he has consistently executed this plan and stayed with this plan, much to the dismay of us Cubs fans, because we're just sitting here like, bro, do something. We're tired of waiting, especially us content creators. We're just sitting here like, oh my gosh, like if I have to wait another time for Jed to do something. So, but yeah, man, I think for me, this deal means that the Cubs are treading in the right direction. And I think, like I said, this strengthens them up. How do you think they rank in the division right now?
I mean, I would put them at the top. I would say number one, but you can't count out the Brewers because they somehow always make the most of what their talent is, even though they traded away a really good rookie in Isaac Collins to the Royals,
Mm-hmm.
which really surprised me
Right.
for that. Um, that being said, on paper, I would say the Cubs are definitely the better team than the Brewers. Obviously, you have to play the games to determine that, but I think
Sure.
this trade kind of, speaking of the Brewers, it kind of opens up the trade market for pitchers, and it's been reported that Freddie Peralta is probably going to be traded by the
Right.
Brewers because of cutting costs. So it, yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens now in the market, not only with trading but also free agency as well, because I think this might be the domino that creates the fall.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that, there have there have been so many teams that have been trying to gesture and make these trades and make these moves, but nothing that's gone through yet. I was actually shocked that the Cubs were. I mean, I just opened up my phone at work and I'm like, what the hell? And Michael Cerami, shout out to him from Bleacher Nation, was like, Cubs are close to closing the deal with the Miami Marlins for for Edward Cabrera, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like what the hell? Because the man, but again, it took me by surprise. I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly because I did the show last night with Rich, and we were talking, and I said, like, I mean, Ken Rosenthal said himself, the Chicago Cubs are nowhere close to being done. And a lot of people were like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. And I mean, Jed's moves and the time it takes to do those moves warrants that response from the fan base. But to Jed's credit, he delivered. This is the second year in a row he went out and made a big trade. And this trade is even bigger to me than the Tucker trade because you have so much more time with Cabrera and you have him under team control for 3 years. That's the huge part in this. That's why he did this deal with Owen Caissie, because you have him for so long and so much time that you're able to now really get in there and work with him and hone his stuff. And I mean, this guy could be on the right track to a Cy Young award winning season with the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think he is a guy who really figured out the type of pitcher that he is last year. And because of that, I think it's going to pay dividends going forward.
Sure. Absolutely. So let's talk pitch mix. What does he bring to the table as a pitcher? So again, he has a very good pitch mix that allows him to be able to throw off guys and induce those swing and miss pitches that he is known for. And again, this is something that the Chicago Cubs were missing. This is what the Chicago Cubs have needed, a guy that can induce those swing and miss type pitches for this team, as somebody that is very has very good velocity as well on his pitches. Have you looked up his pitch mix real quick?
Yeah, I got it right here. Really surprising. So for a guy who throws as hard as he does, he doesn't use it as much. He doesn't use his fastball as much. He actually uses his changeup more.
Okay.
But get this, his changeup average velocity is 92 miles per hour. So if you have a breaking ball that is moving at 92, I wouldn't need a fastball either. Especially with a changeup, the way that, so if you're a right-handed hitter, the way the changeup breaks inside, that, and then same with a lefty breaking away, not only is it breaking that to that side, it's also dropping at the same time. And if it's coming in at 92, you do not have that much time to react to that. So I do not blame him one bit for using his changeup. He actually uses a lot more of his off-speed pitches than you would think for a guy who throws as hard. His fastball is about 98 miles per hour, which is really solid. He can get up to the triple digits if he needs to. I think he found that out this year, that with his velocity, he throws hard enough. All he needs to do is just locate. And I think that's where he found, whereas his first couple years, it was, I'm just going to try and throw this thing as hard as I can to see if they swing and miss. Well, that it only works for so many guys, right? So him figuring this out last year was crucial for him. And he also changed up his arm angle a little bit. He's a little bit more over the top than he was before in his first couple of years. So I really think, and I said this before, last year he figured out what type of pitcher he needs to be and what's going to be successful. But like I said, he uses his changeup and his curveball way more than his fastball, slider, and sinker. When he does use his slider, that thing breaks off the table like crazy. So I do think that his slider is rarely used, and it's really only used as a waste pitch or a strikeout pitch.
Okay.
Mainly just because of how much break it has. I would say, I'm looking at the numbers right now. Yeah, his slider has the second most break out of all MLB pitchers.
My goodness. And this is what the
So
Chicago Cubs
you
got to
don't.
work with.
So I mean, even as a pitcher, even if you with that much break, you can say, okay, yes, I want to throw it here so that it breaks this way. Even if your slider has that much break, it could keep going that way. So
Hmm.
I understand why he uses it as kind of that 0-2 or that waste kind of pitch to get somebody to chase.
Right. Yeah, no, his pitch mix is something to be lauded over for sure, and what he's bringing to the Chicago Cubs, and this is why you could see him turn into the Chicago Cubs ace for the foreseeable future. This also then turns around and makes other pitchers like Justin Steele, who's in the contract year, more expendable because you do have a young pitcher with team control. And to Rob Antal, shout out to Rob. He commented this to Rob Antal's question below any call-ups next year to look out for. Jackson Wiggins, sir. That's the biggie. That's the big one. That is the one. And again, like I told you guys before, signing Edward Cabrera releases guys like Cade Horton and Jackson Wiggins to grow and not have all the pressure on them. It also releases guys like Imanaga to be able to reclaim what they were, as well as for Justin Steele not to have to rush back. So this signing makes sense on so many different levels because of how much pressure it takes off of other guys. Now, again, like I said, this is all dependent on two things with Edward Cabrera. Like Coach said, his location. He has to be able to find his location. If he's not locating, it's going to be a long day. He's going to have a lot of walks. There's going to be a lot of traffic around the bases. However, if he's locating and he's getting that swing and miss, it's going to be a long day for anybody at the plate. I think that it is going to create a lot of havoc for a lot of teams. A lot of teams are going to have a hard day, hard long days against this guy, especially once he gets in our pitching lab with our staff that are going to fine tune him even more so. I'm really excited about what he's doing.
Mike, just to add on what you were talking about by taking the pressure off guys, you take a look at the rotation from last year for the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you had initially you had Imanaga be your number one. Um, I think he's a great pitcher. I don't think he's a number one for any rotation. Maybe the Pirates. Well, no, not. I'm sorry. That's Rude to Paul Skeens. My apologies. Rockies. The
There you go.
Rockies. But the psyche of a guy going in facing another team's number one makes them have to try to be something that they're not, like you said. Imanaga is a location contact pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he kind of turned into that I got to strike everybody out kind of pitcher when that's not him.
And it hasn't been,
And
right?
and I think it was because they put him in that number one spot and he felt that kind of pressure. Now, if you have a Matthew Boyd, who, when he was with the Tigers, was a number one, is used to that kind of pressure, he's getting back to who he used to be. I think that works out perfectly for him. And
Right.
then Tyone used to be a solid number two. He's not the same guy he was in Pittsburgh. So him being a number five, that's going to take so much pressure off him to just go out and throw. I would not be surprised if this year we see Tyone return to form like he was in Pittsburgh because
Ooh,
of
there we go.
how much more he is going to be relaxed and just can focus on what he knows he's capable of. Because as a former player and working with other pitchers, when you're going across against another team's number one, you have that psyche of like, I have to pitch the best game of my life because I'm going up against this guy who is dominant and our offense might not get a chance. So I have to shut out this team. And the more pressure that gets put on, the more mistakes you make. And I think that is the case for some of these teams who don't have a true number one or number two. They throw these guys out there, and the pressure gets too much for them, and that's why you see some guys struggling so much.
No, that's a very fair point, man. Like I said, I believe the same thing for these guys, and I'm excited for that pressure being taken off, and for these guys just to be able to go out there. Now, I want to switch over, and I want to talk about what the Chicago Cubs are losing. The Chicago Cubs traded away Owen Caissie is the big part in this deal, of course. What are they losing in somebody like Owen Caissie?
I mean, just the young factor of what he was capable of. I think even in the short time he was with the Cubs, he showed
Mhm.
that flashes of, hey, this is the future of the franchise. I
Right.
think that's going to sting
Yeah.
because especially with him getting more opportunities and being able to um, get more playing time. Do I think he's going to become the face of the Marlins? I don't think so, but I think
Right.
he's going to be a key player going forward. Whereas with the Cubs, everyone kind of saw him as the if Pete Crow Armstrong didn't work out, this is our backup plan. And now that
Good way to
PCA
put
is
that.
working out, they're like, okay, I don't think we necessarily need him too much. It's
Sure.
like I said, still going to sting, but for what you're getting in Cabrera, and like you said, for 3 years of control, I think it's kind of worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, they traded away Owen Caissie, shortstop Christian Hernandez, and infielder Eduardo De Leon to Miami for the right-hander Edward Cabrera, who posted an 8-7 record with a 3.53 ERA and 150 strikeouts in 2025. So, like I said, those other two pieces, Christian Hernandez was another piece that was highly touted in our double A system, as well as Eduardo De Leon, who is another piece. So, like I said, I think that these points here are reasons why Miami wanted these pieces. Now it's up to Miami to develop these pieces. Can they develop, can they develop Owen Caissie? Can he become something more with Miami? Can he reach, his full potential there? I mean, these are all questions
Mm-hmm.
that have to be answered, and only time will tell with Owen Caissie what he will become. But we already know what we're getting when we get Edward Cabrera. And I don't even think he's touched his full potential, but we know we're going to get
Opia.
somebody that is going to come into our team and immediately be a game changer. And he's going to take, like we said, a lot of pressure off of guys. And for Miami, if it works out for where Owen Caissie is a big piece of their future going forward, I mean, hey, that is what that is. But I also remember the Cubs being a team that kind of hoarded talent at the AAA and AA level, and those guys, when we did call them up, they did not end up panning out. Remember, guys, Michael Bush is not supposed to be your first baseman after Anthony Rizzo. It was supposed to be Matt Mervis. Let us all remember how that turned out. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, no diss to Matt, but I think Matt is I think he's retired, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken, I think Matt Mervis retired or whatnot. So I mean, listen, as much as we love some of this talent, they have to be able to show, and they have to be able to show immediately what they're doing. And
You're going to get a kick out of this. Matt Mervis is actually with the Miami Marlins.
oh, that's hilarious. Oh, so yeah, Mervis. I forgot they ended up signing Mervis over there. So yeah, but Matt Mervis was supposed to be the future of the Chicago Cubs, y'all. 3 years ago, we believed that, especially after we traded Anthony Rizzo. We thought he was going to be the next team captain, the next big guy. Never really panned out for us that way.
Nope,
Again,
check that. He's actually with the Washington Nationals now.
he's with the Natties now. So yeah, I mean, hey, listen, this is how it goes. So that's the league, man. But at the same time, I still think that, I wish nothing but the best for Owen Caissie. I hope that he ends up panning out there, and I hope he has a good long career. But again, the Chicago Cubs, he became expendable because we needed a starting pitching bad, and we have a right fielder in Seiya Suzuki that is probably going to be a Chicago Cub. He's probably going to sign a second contract with us. I mean, I just want to put that out there as well. Like I said, you're going to have Seiya Suzuki on the squad, and for all intents and purposes, you could end up having someone else, join the Chicago Cubs or rejoin the Chicago Cubs too. So there's multiple pieces out here for the Chicago Cubs. And again, like I said, you just have to see what those other prospect guys are going to turn out. But I've talked to you guys big time about making sure that you go get the sure thing. Prospect and potential don't win you World Series. It's when you're able to go out and execute. And if the Chicago Cubs are serious about winning the Central Division, which is what, not Jed Hoyer, but what Craig Counsell has said since he came to Chicago. He came to Chicago to win Central Division titles and to be playing into well into October. That's what he that's what he said he came here to do. So these are the type of moves you're going to have to make. You're going to have to give up young, unproven talent to go get the good talent. And you're going to have to spend some money. So that's the other side of this.
Yeah, I'm just sorry, I got lost in thought here. I'm looking at all these free agents that still haven't signed. I'm like, my goodness, there are some guys here that would make any team so much better. It's just
Talk to me. Who you got?
Well, so this is a rank. This is listed by WAR on the value on how valuable each free agent is.
Sure.
Obviously, number one was Kyle Schwarber, so that was a gimme.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso, number two, going to Baltimore. But then the next three guys are unsigned, being Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette, and Eugenio Suarez. Then you also got Bellinger, number 8, Bregman, number 10. Marcelo Zuna is still out there. Mike Tauchman.
That is also that. But both, I actually like both of those pieces. I like Marcelo Zuna. I know things went south with him in Atlanta. I mean, like I said, that team, it was just time to break him up. But his bat is still deadly.
Yeah, it's just crazy looking at these free agents still available. Paul Goldschmidt still on the market. Tommy Pham.
Yeah.
Reese McGuire, former Cub, still on the market.
Yep.
Willie Castro, another Cub, on the market still.
Yep. Wow.
Justin Turner, but I mean, Turner's got to call it quits, man. You're getting old, dude.
Please,
I love you. I love you, man, but you're getting old.
Oh man, yeah,
Become
man.
a manager or something.
It's a lot of pieces still out there for the taking. Like I said, and again, the Chicago Cubs. I tend to side with Ken Rosenthal when I believe, especially after this move, the Chicago Cubs. I know we're close to being done, guys. We're gonna do more of these lives because there's gonna be more Chicago Cub pieces that join the team. You could bet your bottom dollar on that. So, but
hey, Mike, real quick, there is some breaking news. It's not Cubs related, but baseball related. Rockies sign pitcher Michael Lorenzen to a 1-year deal.
Okay, all right. It's not a bad deal for them. Like I said, I mean the Rockies got plenty of money to spend. Like I said, so they kudos to Michael Lorenz getting that paper. So
I think he becomes their immediate number one. Honestly,
absolutely. Which I mean, hopefully he can continue to be a strikeout type of guy, because Lord knows, playing in the Rocky Mountains, man, it ain't nothing but home run after home run after home run after home run. Goodness gracious. So, but hey, man, listen, we appreciate each and every last one of you guys that have tuned into this live and hung out with us while we talk about Edward Cabrera being signed to the Chicago Cubs. Like I said, I'm gonna give you guys, please leave your comments below. Give us your thoughts on this signing. Are you excited about it? Are you not excited about it? And yeah, man, like I said, I don't think the Chicago Cubs are finished here. I know Coach thinks Bregman is a long shot. I'm still of the mindset that Bregman probably is going to end up with the Chicago Cubs. Coach believes that he'll end up with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see what happens. But like I said, more dominoes to fall here soon. The Cubs got their guy to make people want to get excited about CubsCon now. You introduce Edward Cabrera at CubsCon, put the jersey on him, have him come out there, trot him around as your new shiny toy. And I mean, the Chicago Cubs might make a signing here the rest of the week on a free agent. We'll have to see what they do. They have about $39 million underneath the luxury tax bracket, that first tax bracket. So, like I said, they still have money to be able to sign players. So we'll just have to see what they do, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm hoping this is the first domino to fall in everything in Major League Baseball, because it's been a boring off season. Let's get some excitement going.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.